Hello and welcome to Queer Abbey, a weekly chat show that is performed, recorded, and produced by yours truly. Welcome to the second episode of Queer Abbey. I want to start off by saying that I am absolutely flattered by everybody's positive response to the first episode. I had multiple of my friends reach out and tell me that they enjoyed listening to the podcast, and that means a lot to me, so I appreciate your support. Let's get right into it, y'all. I actually have some content to work with this week, which is really exciting. I put out a little anonymous inbox on my Instagram story, and I had somebody immediately submit a little story, so that was really exciting. I welcome and invite you to tell me your problems, give me a story, and I will give you my advice here at Queer Abbey. Once again, our phone number is 503-567-2053, or you can email us at queerabbey@gmail.com. That's QUEERABBEY@gmail.com. Yeah! So, it's the first week of June while I'm filming this, and the weather is beautiful, but it is really hot. In Portland, it's rainy for 70% of the year, and then all of a sudden, in early June, it just turns into this blistering hellscape. That's why you might hear my fan in the background, so mind your business about that, okay? So some kind of big news, introducing a major transition in my life. I started hormones the other day. I talked to my doctor, and I decided that is going to be right for me at this time. I don't know what my plan is, but I have considered for a long time that I enjoy being perceived as feminine by other people, and I like seeing myself that way. So I'm going to continue to explore that and see what estrogen therapy has to offer me in that light. So yeah, I'm going to be growing some milkers for you guys. Exciting stuff. I wish I could whiten my teeth. That's my next, medical adventure, is figuring out how to regularly go to the dentist as an adult. I'm ashamed to admit that it's been more than a year since my last cleaning, and it's just, such is the nature of being a student that works and is just busy all the time. I try my very best to take care of my teeth, but it's hard. Taking care of your body is hard. I am excited for the positive changes that I think hormone therapy will bring me physically. Estrogen makes your hair softer, it makes your skin less oily. It actually has an effect on your cholesterol levels, which I thought was interesting. Generally, introducing more estrogen production or absorption has a positive effect on cholesterol, and then the opposite is true for testosterone. I am almost done with the school term, too. It's been rough, y'all. The first 2 quarters this year, I took 20 credits, which is unfathomable, to be honest, especially because I also work. Yeah, so that kind of took my soul away from me a little bit. And I am still reconciling my personal life after committing to so much schoolwork for such a long time. My third term wasn't so bad. I took 16 credits, which is full-time normal credits. Still while working, and that was more manageable, still hard, because I'm studying music, and it requires a lot of emotional energy as well as intellectual energy to complete that kind of work. We pushed through it, though. We persevered, and we're at the end of my junior year of college, which I'm so excited about. I have 1 more year left, and it should not be so rigorous. I only have to take the minimum amount of credits to be full-time next year. I'm really excited. That's why I decided to start this podcast, because over the summer I'll have more time, and yeah, oh my god, life begins after you finish your 20 credit term. In this calendar year, I have gone out to the bar with a friend once. One time. Yeah, it's like I'm a nun in the nunnery, just like slaving away doing audio production, homework, and then various other university studies endeavors. I took some interesting classes this year, though. I'm kind of glad that I switched to a science degree because I took a class about the water cycle where we sampled macroinvertebrate populations from a local stream, which means that we counted the bugs in the water, and it tells you about how healthy like a stream environment is. So yeah, I should probably have a whole episode just about stream macroinvertebrates. I love getting insight into hyper specific fields of research. It's so interesting to like how do they measure the quality of a stream? And as it turns out, it's bugs. It's by the bugs in there. And we love that. We love bugs around here. So, speaking of hyper-specific knowledge, do you know anybody that's really into classical music? I do. This has been one of the most interesting parts about navigating music academia is being around people who have sort of an echo chamber effect around classical music and its gravity in our society. People will fully like walk up to you in the music building, like, "Oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm blank and blank. What's your favorite Mahler symphony? Just wondering." And it's like I'm not sure if it's actively a challenge on whether like who knows the most, or if it's just what I said, like an echo chamber, like they really expect that everybody knows anything about music that's from the 17th and 18th century. Anyway, I purchased some virtual instruments. I've been downloading them all morning, and that's kind of exciting. In audio production, that's one of the spendier tools that you might want to acquire. The virtual instrument sounds, the quality of them can vary greatly. I mean, when you use the ones that are included with the software, oftentimes they are, I don't know, just not great. They're pretty hard to make doctor up and make them sound like really high quality and high fidelity. So you can pay for what's called a VST, or a virtual instrument library, and there's sounds that have been recorded generally in like a really tailored studio environment, and so they have that lovely quality and fidelity to them that you want when you are trying to emulate a real instrument. So I'm pretty excited about this. I am also very excited for our artist spotlight later. It's going to be one of my dear friends, Katie Waterland. It's a song that they produced in collaboration with their partner, Matt, and it just bangs, and it's fitting for this season. It's hot outside, and their song is called Heat. I mean, it's also Pride Month. I guess I should say that too, huh? I have like the fucking queer pod called Queer Abbey, and I just skip over that. But yeah, happy Pride. If you have the chance at all today, go ahead and throw a brick at a cop. Any cop will do. Do people younger than me like understand Pride? Do they know about it? Sometimes I wonder, because I honestly did not fully understand gay history or why Pride existed until I was, I don't know, late into my teens, until I had been to Pride several times. Well, I guess I shouldn't say fully understand either. Maybe gained a better understanding of it. The book The Velvet Rage, could not recommend more, especially if you are a male-bodied gay person or queer or trans. That one is a hot read. It's about this brilliant gay man's perspective on growing up as a homosexual. Yeah. Oh God, being gay can be so tragic. But straight people have their struggles too. There is only, so many sundresses that can be worn. Only so many pairings of socks and sandals. Only so many pairs of cargo shorts. It's tough. There's a finite reality to being a heterosexual. And that brings me quite nicely to our first advice segment at Queer Abbey. Ah! All right, y'all, let's get into it. From an anonymous user, Queer Abbey. My ex, after only being together for 2 weeks, proceeded to change her name to my D&D character's name. For those who don't know, D&D is Dungeons and Dragons. She also asked out my friend the day after I left, and then asked out my bestie 4 months later. Insane. Yeah, that absolutely is insane. I see why they are your ex. I mean, one must wonder, are the straights okay? This Pride Month, maybe we turn a little bit of attention to them. Maybe we need straight pride, even, because that's despicable behavior. I mean, who intrudes on a D&D sesh only 2 weeks into a relationship? That's pretty obnoxious in and of itself. And then to vampirize the creativity of the players, yeah, no, not okay. No, on a real note, that is really weird. I think it's all too common for people to get into hyper dependent type relationships where they just want closeness with somebody so badly that it doesn't really matter to them what the quality of that closeness is, as long as they feel like they aren't alone in their suffering. But aren't we all a little prone to that? Maybe this person just wanted to show you that they were ready for commitment. And I also wonder what your D&D name was. I mean, was it like really freaky? I don't play D&D myself. I mean, I guess it could have been something like Martha, but in my head, this deluded girl changed her name to like, Oh, Victrion, or something like that. Yeah, definitely some weird attachment style going on there where they felt like they probably needed to get stake in your relationship early on. Like, oh yeah, see, I'm worth keeping around because I'm into D&D too. Yeah, I've definitely fallen victim to some behavior like that in the past. We all want to be loved, you know? That was just a pretty weird way of going about it. I think that this assumption is backed up by the second part of the submission, saying that this girl also asked out this person's friend the day after they left town, which they probably felt the need to do as a result of their D&D name being stolen. I would react the same way. What else is there to do but leave town? It's nowhere near big enough for 2 old Victrions. D&D seems really fun, though. I would actually really enjoy that if I could get a solid group of people together. Is that like the new I like hiking? Is saying I would love to play D&D if I just had a good group. Well, whatever. Putting it out there into the universe. I would love to be some sort of, elfish enchantress, illusionist, that with a sharp tongue and an even sharper intellect. That seems like my gambit. Because, like, we never play. When's the last time that you played Mermaids? I bet it wasn't recently. It's been years for me, personally, and that's criminal. So that's kind of the niche that D&D can fill for us, is it lets us live our little LARP fantasies so we can play mermaids as adults. Yay! This Pride season, it's important for us all to go out, get naked, and play mermaids at our local body of water. Go do it. All right, moving on. Our second submission of the day is very straightforward. I like it. Queer Abbey. How do you get on Spotify? Well, that's a great question. It's actually not very difficult to put a podcast on Spotify, I discovered just last week. They have a creator interface specifically for podcasts that you can actually edit inside of that like workspace, but I make mine in the same DAW that I make music in. It's called Studio One. So that's not necessary, but if you wanted to have a lot of control over like the music or a specific aspect of the sound, that's something you'd probably want to do is work in a DAW. But otherwise, you could just get your whatever kind of audio recording makes sense for you and upload it to that Spotify interface, and they will actually upload to other platforms for you as well. They cross-pollinate your podcast with Apple Music, Audible, and one more, I can't remember. But yeah, that's how I was able to get this podcast on all of those platforms pretty easily. In regards to music, there are several services that you can use. I know a really popular one is DistroKid, but there are some issues as well. There's some reasons it may be less favorable than others. CD Baby is another one. There's third-party distribution services that you can submit to, usually for a small fee, and they will distribute it to Spotify for you. Yay! There's a whole very complex world of music business, and like the way that people get paid for music being played on the radio or at a business, even just music playing out loud. There's something called a mechanical royalty that every time your song is played, these distribution entities and other entities, they work to make sure that the artist gets paid when that song gets played out loud, basically, which is really, really interesting. And that's the fractions of a penny that you hear people talking about, like, oh, every time my song gets streamed on Spotify, I make, 1,000th of a cent. And there's some very complex workings to it, and I think that if people should definitely be making more money from streaming, because the world has changed a lot in the last 20 years, and similarly to when music recordings in general became available, the music industry is having a hard time accommodating all of these changes. So without getting too boring about it, very interesting stuff. Not hard to get on Spotify. It is hard to get paid for being on Spotify, though. It might be a little bit doomer of me to say this, but that's one form of evidence to me that we live in a dark age, is that we don't fund and perpetuate the arts. It's a really bad symptom for a society to not care about art and make sure that people can make art, because that's a part of the human experience, is to sing and dance and paint and all of those things. Anyway, on to our last submission of the day. This one is from somebody that I grew up with, actually. I know who it's from. And they said, "Queer Abbey, I have the undeniable urge to paint my apartment because the rent is increasing about $200. I'm never going to get a deposit back anyways, and they told me to take down my skeleton from my patio. Listen, I'm going to be living here for a long-ass time. Rent's astronomical everywhere, and we're in a pleasant school district. Should I do it?" And this short answer. Yes, you absolutely should. Fuck an apartment complex. They didn't even know this when they made the submission, but I actually went through a really similar kind of situation in the place before last. I lived in a student apartment complex, and they say that you couldn't paint or make any changes, but I knew I had several roommates and I lived there for a year and a half, and the likelihood of me getting my deposit back was low anyway, or the full amount of the deposit, and it wasn't that much money because it was a student apartment complex. So I just painted the whole apartment black. My second roommate really, really wanted to paint, and it gave me the motivation to just do it, because I said, I'm not getting the deposit back, just like you said. So yeah, why not? And then they never even charged me. I literally got the deposit back. I was dumbfounded, but they gave me the full thing because I must have just done a good job. So I would recommend making it look good, and then maybe they won't even charge you. Another fun fact about Wilson, I worked at Sherwin-Williams for a year and change. I lived in Wilsonville, which is funny. And yeah, I worked at the paint store mixing up custom stains for fences and latex paint, all sorts of stuff. I made epoxies for floors and garages. It was very interesting and I learned a lot. Paint behaves just kind of like makeup in a way, where you have to prime the surface and make sure that it's going to support the paint that you're putting on top of it and adhere properly. So you might need to do some sanding or applying some sort of chemical primer that works with the things that you're putting over it. And then obviously the painting. It was interesting. There was some transferable skills. We were also directly next door to a nail salon. And so I started getting acrylics done at that time, which was so cute because I would like mix up paint all day and then go get paint mixed up for my nails next door. So that's kind of a lovely memory for me. I enjoyed that a lot. Although I got yelled at by contractors all day. They did not want my faggoty ass telling them how to paint a house. It was not the tea for them, but I still had a good time anyway. There was this one painter named... Oh, no, I'll bleep that out. He was so gay. Oh my God, but he had a wife and everything, and he was totally in the closet, because Wilsonville is an area outside of Portland that's not as liberal. It's not in the like extremely blue bubble of Portland. It's far enough south that you get the weird Oregonians. And so yeah, this man was in the closet and probably has no intention of ever coming out, but his paint company had like a super gay sounding name too, so it was just so confusing to me when I found out that he identified as straight. He would wear these little like white hot pants every single day. Oh my God, it was so fierce. Anyway, yeah, Sherwin-Williams, that was a good time. So, to my friend, paint your apartment, go wild, do whatever you want, to be honest. Wear white hot pants, and be straight. And that brings us to the end of our advice segment for today. Thank you. All right. That brings us to our first musical spotlight. I am very excited to present to you Heat by Feverdream, a lovely musical duo that is comprised of Katie Waterland and their partner Matt, who make beautiful music together, singing, playing the guitar and bass and various other instruments. They're both very talented multi-instrumentalists, and I think that you will love this song. It's sort of a 90s grunge, psychedelic kind of bop. Without further ado, here is Heat. My God, did you hear that? No, not the song. My panties hitting the floor. Katie is so freaking talented. I met them in a little jazz choir in school a couple years back, and I was just astounded by how talented and nice they are. So you should definitely go over and listen to the full song on their Spotify. You can find their musical duo under Feverdream on Spotify, or that song is called Heat, once again. They also have a couple of solo projects under their name, Katie Waterland. I would strongly advise you to check them out and go give them some love. Well, that brings us to the close of this sophomore episode of Queer Abbey. Your abbess, would like to thank you for listening. If you would like to make a submission and be featured on the podcast, you can reach out to us one of several ways. If you'd like to follow my Instagram at Will, WILL, __, Sin, SIN, that's Will with 2 underscores, Sin on Instagram, or our phone number is 503-567-2053, or you can email us at queerabbey, that's QUEERABBEY, @gmail.com.
See you later, sluts.